Here's a couple of things. ASU is very liberal.
It is.
So, and once they see my video is shot here, they're probably gonna come after me, but this is public property.
You say September
I would-
13th?
Yeah, it's a Saturday weekend. It's gonna be a weekend. It's only gonna take about an hour out of your time. And that includes driving over here, so it's not gonna be quick. It's not gonna be long, it'll be a very quick thing. Then too, I wanna solicit your support for my run for Congress. Phone calls, knocking doors, handing out pamphlets, all this kind of stuff. I'm not gonna raise $1 million, but I'm good at motivating people to do things. All right, I think that's one of my gifts. I'm a pastor, public speaker, been a pastor for close to 30 years, public servant. And when I say public servant, here's what I say about it. And I think I'm uniquely trained for representing people for such a time as this. As a pastor, praying for people when they're sick, counseling them before they get married, counseling them when they lose a job or when they lose a home, counseling them when their children are going through sickness, being there for their children's first day of school, being there to pray for them and bless their first day of college, blessing their home, blessing their first apartment. That type of thing. Being in and among the people has made me unique for this position for Congress. And I believe right now that America and the world are at a very great and high spiritual war. And I've been doing that since I was 17. We're in a spiritual battle. I'm a man of prayer. I'm a man who loves people. And it doesn't matter what color or whichever of the two genders, and I'm emphasizing too, that a person is, it doesn't matter that to me. I believe all of us as American citizens, again, I emphasize that, you deserve to have representation in this country. As soon as the left came in, everything else became important besides the needs of Americans. The first transgender this, the dress a man up and put a mop on his head and say, this is the woman of the year. Putting men in women's sports, brutally beating women up, taking breaking their records and taking away their scholarship opportunities. I mean, this stuff is sick, and we have to stop it, and I guarantee you I'll stand up for that. But that's gonna be it for me. Any questions for today?
So when you get elected, you're likely to have President Trump as president. You may have the Senate and the Congress entirely on the Republican side. So the restrictions and the problems that we're going to have are going to be with fellow Republicans that are going to be fighting against MAGA as they have in the past. Have you been approached by any caucuses or groups like the Freedom Caucus or the Liberty Caucus, and what's your thoughts on them, and what's your game plan for working with fellow Republicans?
Well, I wasn't approached this year because they already know how I sent them back to Washington last year. They said that they wanted to bring me in and raise me $300,000 for my campaign to help win the primary. They said, but you have to get rid of your staff, and we're going to teach you how to come to Congress and how to move in Congress. I said, that's the problem. That's the problem. We try to send people to Congress to Washington to change Washington, but Washington comes to us and then walk us in under the same stuff. So I told them, I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. So they pretty much know who I am, and this is why fundraising has been pretty tough for me, and I believe that we'll be able to overcome it very soon. So we recently got on the ballot. Well, we got enough signatures to get on the ballot. We probably will be challenged, but it's going to be frivolous. It's going to be a waste of time and a waste of money because we doubled the amount that we needed. So I'm willing to work with people, as long as it doesn't go against people's constitutional rights, as long as it doesn't fund Ukraine or Israel or any other wars and stuff like that. If it takes care of the American people, if it closes the border, if it cuts taxes, if it recharges our energy source here in America, yeah, I'll do it. But other than that, if they want us to try to compromise and all that kind of stuff, no, I'm not doing it. I believe no more. It's time out for the compromise. And I'm not signing any bill that has all of this extra stuff in it. I want to sign one bill. If the bill is about building a wall, I just want to talk about the wall. I don't want to have all this extra stuff in it that's giving money to, to fund Israel or take care of transgender rights and all this kind of, no. We need to deal with the American people. You and I have been neglected. Our veterans have been neglected. I know people, I knocked on a lady's door the other day, she's 70 years old. And her daughter is 40 years old, suffering from muscular dystrophy, muscular sclerosis. And the condition is worsening. She can't get SSDI. The mother says she can't retire because her savings is being eaten up by inflation. She's 70 years old, she wants to retire. And she was crying, she just started crying. She said, I'm afraid I don't know what to do. What if I can't go to work anymore? She said, I'm so tired. Daughter, they won't give her SSDI, but they give these illegals $10,000 a month, free rent and everything. So, yeah, they give them
transgenders.
Yeah, well, see,
gay people.
Yeah, well, see, they're really not transing into anything.
So what do
you can't transform into something that you would not.
So what's your opinion on like transgenderism, like as a whole?
Well, listen, let me tell you something. They're human beings, and I love them, and I wish them the best. But as far as that, it's a mental condition, and that they need to get help for that mental condition.
Yes.
Instead of us trying to force all of the world and all of America to succumb to their way of thinking, I think we need to get them and make room for them to have medical assistance.
They also need to learn how to fit in with us.
That's right. And they should also have their own restrooms. If they're really struggling with that and they want to have a restroom, then we'll spend the extra money to get them a restroom where they can go into and just be as transgenderous as they would like.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just a bathroom, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but see, I think the issue is that a lot of transgenders, if you do your research, many of them are pedophiles.
Exactly.
That's really just a sneaky way to get access to children. And that's why these schools will start to do these transgender book hours and stuff with the kids. And when they started to look those people up, it turned out that they were on Megan's list. Those guys are not gay, they're pedophiles.
So they're on the like sex offender registry?
Yeah.
So that's what they do?
And if they have a same-sex attraction, I call them homophiles.
Yes.
Yes.
One thing that I've noticed a difference between the Democrats and the Republicans in office is
Hey guys.
a lot of Democratic, not just candidates, but members of Congress or whatever, will still work with their grassroots. You'll see, Maxine Waters give speeches to their hardcore radicals, and they're always working with them. But it seems like the Republican Party is scared of its own base. It's scared of the grassroots. It thinks, they think they're better than the grassroots. So when you are elected, will you make an effort to maintain a relationship with the MAGA base, and will you come to protests and stuff?
That's what I do. Like I said, I'm the only candidate in this race who was at January 6th.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I wouldn't, listen, let me tell you about the time of January 6th. I hadn't even thinking about running for no seat. I wasn't even running for Congress, was nowhere in my mind. So that wasn't something that I was like, wow, this is gonna look great for me. I'm going January 6th. And people, no, I was concerned about our elections and what they did. And President Donald Trump, I love him. And I hate all the lies, and I hate to see all the things he's going through. When he asked us to come out there, I packed up my bags and went out there. And it was, hey, it's a free country, right? I can go where I want to go, right? Yeah. I'm not breaking any laws, didn't take any guns with me, didn't take my AR.
No.
I just went there to protest the government and to exercise my freedom of speech. Yeah. Here's something that is getting ready to go possibly around the nation. My 4 promises to my CD. All right? And I want y'all to record this and write these down and put these down, because I want this to go into any local paper, and I want this to be asked other politicians, because I believe that every Republican person who's running for Senate and every candidate who's running for U.S. Congress need to agree to this. Number 1, and as long as we're in Congress, we should volunteer to show our people our tax returns. Why? Because the moment calls for this. I believe that the money is polluting and corrupting our Republican representatives. That's the money. And I want to know who's getting the money, right? So show us your tax returns. I'm willing to do that. That's the promise I'm making to my constituents in CD4. I'm promising my PCs, I will show you every year I'm in Congress. I promise you, you will see my tax returns. Number 2, that I will not make any major vote in Congress without consulting my local districts. There's 5 local districts in my CD. LD 13, LD 10, LD 12, LD 9, and LD 8. All right? I will not make a vote without, first of all, a major vote without talking to them. Because I want to make sure that the power goes back to the people and that the people are represented in Congress. I want them to make that promise. Because we are tired of not being represented in Washington. The third thing is that I want to help with PC recruiting. When we start recruiting PCs and getting people in the PC position and getting involved in local politics, we're going to be able to win every race. And then finally, I'm going to help fundraise for every LD. I believe every LD needs to have at least $100,000 in the coffers because we need to raise money for technology to bring younger people like you guys in. We need to have technology that is going to keep their attention and get them involved. We need to have presentations from people who can come in for travel, for main speakers. And see, we have to rush over to Charlie Kirk all the time, but there's a lot of Charlie Kirks around here who have the type of ability that he has, and we need to get the money into our LDs, and that's why I need to do some fundraising for my local districts. So am I going to be a local guy? You bet I am. I'm not going to Washington to disappear among the swamp creatures. I want my LD to be the reddest LD, the reddest district in Arizona. And that's how I'm going to make it happen.